Hello, everyone. Participants, I would like to introduce you our today's speaker for the day 3, session 3. Dr. Jayasintha Menis is Director of Studies for both undergraduate and postgraduate in computer science at Mazen University College, Sultanate of Oman. She is a senior fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy. She completed her PhD in computer science in remote sensing using hyperspectral imaging technology. Throughout her career, she has achieved various professional certifications from professional bodies, namely Sun Microsystem, Oracle, Cisco, edX, AWS Academy, and Google. She believes in lifelong learning and keeps herself abreast with latest technologies. She has led funded projects, being the principal investigator. Her primary research interest is centered on data analytics and image processing in particular, hyperspectral image processing, and she has presented several articles in various reputed international conferences and journals. We welcome you, ma'am. It is so glad to have you here on this platform. Thank you so much for joining us and taking out your precious time. I hope for this session, our participants are going to learn a lot from your presence. And the today's talk is on organizing and structuring high impact fact papers, which is need of the hour for most of us. Thank you so much for joining, and you may start now.
Thank you, Dr. Vandana, for introducing me to the participants. It's my privilege to be part of this good cause that you have conducted over these 5 days in faculty development. I'm glad to be part of it as a speaker. Okay, before I start, I know this is afternoon time for all of you. I would like the participants to log on to slido.com, or you can use your QR code scanner and let me know what do people publish according to you? Why do people publish according to you? Can I know your views, participants? You can either write on the browser through your phone, slido.com, you can use this code that I have provided you on the screen, or you can use the QR scanner. Just you can say it in one word. Why do people publish? Okay, I can get a response in the chat box. Okay, no worries. I'm getting good responses.
Probably,
awareness.
Ma'am, there are some responses. Let me read it. Awareness on latest update to be done. For publish their own work. That is the 2 reply which we received.
Yes, I can see one on the Slido. Okay. Maybe a few more. Let's give them a chance
to share our work.
Oh, very nice. Okay, we are getting a lot of responses. Okay, all have equally, they have said about different things. Okay, collaboration, review, contribution, recognition. Yes, very nice participants. Thank you for your responses. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is what you are saying. There are few responses given by a survey. Maybe I would like to share with you all. Like this was a survey done a little earlier, but I think this stands even true today. People do normally for career prospects or maybe they want to keep their work as an intellectual property. So once it is published, nobody can claim as their own. There are people who want to make this work recognized. That's why they publish. There are experts who want to disseminate the knowledge to the research community. That's why they publish. Or in order to get funding, normally you need to have a research record. That's why people publish. And all things that you have said, rightly said, these are the reasons why do people publish. Okay, we know why do people publish. I'm just wanted to give you a brief overview of publication process. So there are different people involved in the publication process. First, the author, then the editor and the reviewers. Normally, an author submits a paper. Then this paper is reviewed by an editor of a particular journal. If the basic requirements are met, then editor will assign reviewer by you or in the first instance, if the editor is not feeling that basic requirements are not met, then it will be rejected. And as I told you, if it has been assigned to the reviewer, reviewer will review your work and provide recommendations to the work as minor revision, major revision, or reject. Editor will review these and take a decision whether to reject the paper or ask the author to do the revisions. If the author is asked to do the revisions, again, the process repeats. It's an iterative process, again, submitting the paper to the journal. There are times, even after revisions, based on the recommendation from the reviewers, paper can get rejected. So if the paper is accepted after the review, then it will go to the publication. So this is the publication life cycle. If you see here, the ratio of rejection and acceptance, there is a great difference. So this tells us how rigorous the process is. So how careful we must be in publishing the research work. You can see the points of failure. There are many points of failure and less points of acceptance. This should not, you should not take it as a worry, but rather one minute, students. I think I'm getting a call from the coordinator from your side. Participant, am I audible to you all? Can you please show your reactions, please? Or send me through the message. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am. Very much audible.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. So as I told you all participants, you should not worry about it. So basically it gives a signal that how careful we must be if you want to publish in a high impact factor journals. Because even after revision, there can be chances that the paper can be rejected. So you need to be very careful in designing and presenting your paper so that it can get accepted. Okay, so these are few things we need to consider before you start to publish. You need to introspect yourself and see, am I really having something new to share with the research community? Will it be of interest? Is my topic in the current trend? Is it a hot topic? So have I done some experiments in a different perspective that can provide solution to some difficult problems? Am I ready to publish? So these are the few things a brainstorming session you need to have. And if you feel that answer to these all questions is yes, yeah, then you can start putting down your original research into a paper. So this is just to introspect yourself, few points before you publish. So if you want to publish, there are different type of manuscripts you can publish. It can be original research papers, so that you have experimented in a different perspective. Some original findings are available. So normally these are research articles which can be published in a journal. Or the second types, letters, rapid communications or short communications. This type of work is also an original work. These contain, but in a condensed form for a rapid communication. The third category is the review paper, which may not contain or may contain an original work. Normally, this will be used for a comparative analysis to be done on the published work. So now this is the normal structure or a general structure followed by a research article. Initially, there's a title, then abstract, then keywords, followed with introduction, methods, results and discussion, followed by conclusion. Finally, acknowledgements and references. Okay, I have a question for you, participant, before we proceed. This is a question. I want you all to rank these items in the order of what should be prepared first. Which of these items need to be prepared first? Can you please rank them again using the same link, slido.com? You can use the code which is provided on the screens to participants. Okay, the highest score is conclusion and introduction. Okay, then methods, results and discussion, followed by figures and tables, and abstract and title. Okay, okay, good. You have, it's not the order of the research article that you have gone. Some, you can say ratings are upside down. That's fine. That means you agree that you need not follow the same structure for writing as it will be published in the research article. Okay, as for the experts, they say that you need to start with figures and tables. So what you can do for that is you need to write a research story. What you want to communicate to the audience. Write it informally, in an informal way, a story. The whole thing that you want to communicate to the research community or to your audience. It need not follow any structure. So you can have figures and tables. Once the research story is ready, then you can try to figure out things. You can start with figures and tables. This is what the experts say. Then you can go with methods, results, and discussion. Then you can write conclusions and introduction. And finally, abstract and title. So this is the order, what the experts say. It's easy to write a paper. But again, it depends on the individual, how they feel comfortable. Okay, let's go one by one. I'll go in the order of the general structure. Let us touch in every aspect of the paper and see what you should do in each section of the paper. So first, coming to the title should be catchy. You should catch the attention of your readers. Your primary readers are your editor, your reviewer, and later potential authors who want to cite your paper. Make your title catchy so that it draws their attention. So your title should use few but best informative words. I think Dr. Vandana, I think there is some disturbance. Maybe can you mute that mic, please? Dr. Vandana? Okay, thank you. So this should adequately describe the research. The whole thing should be said in one line. What is the main aspect of your research? Okay, thank you. Okay, so your title should adequately describe the research. You should be able to say it in one line. What is your research about? That should be reflected in the title along with the main issues solved, because every research is done to solve some issues. It is not advised to use technical jargons which are rarely used as abbreviations. So try to use something that is commonly known, commonly accepted. Articles, according to the research, articles with shorter titles get more citations. This is the research findings. Next, coming to the keywords. So these are the labels of your manuscript. So you need to carefully choose your labels. You can refer to guide to the authors in selecting number of labels for your research, how many labels you need to give, how many keywords you need to give. So because these keywords are used by the searching engines or indexing, even by abstracting services for selecting the abstract. So hence, your keywords should be specific, which reflect your research. Coming to the abstract, the next section is the abstract. Abstract should provide the summary and overview of your research. So here, to help you out, you can remember 3 P's: purpose, procedure, and principal findings. These all things should reflect in your abstract. So this is the first piece of text which will be read by your editor as well as your reviewer to understand the quality of your research. So just by reading the abstract, they may take a decision to reject or continue with the paper. So this is very important. So your purpose should state the problem, what you are going to solve, the procedure, the approach taken, the methods that you have used along with the results. State the principal findings you have found out through your research, and do not forget to include conclusions. All of them should be provided in a single paragraph. As I stated already, a clear abstract will strongly influence whether or not to consider your work. You can use 50 to 300 words. It's not a big paragraph. You can use 50 to 300 words for your abstract. Next is your introduction. Here you are setting the stage for the reader. You need to set the stage so that you create interest in the reader. Because once they read the introduction, then the reader will think whether I should read the other parts or not. So provide a brief background, describe your problem here. You need to look at the existing researches. So literature review can become a part of introduction or as a separate section, depending on the journal's requirements. You need to find the gaps that are the limitations in the existing research which you want to fill, or you are looking at it in a different perspective. So position your approach as a different perspective or as your approach to fill the gaps which have been created by the existing researchers. So this is what you need to do in the introduction. At the introduction, you need to provide an overview of the report structure, the paper structure, like what follows in the report. So the reader has a fair idea about what will be following next. Then comes your methods. So here the reviewers will the validity of your research is found here. They will validate your research in this section. Describe your proposed approach. You can make use of diagrams. Your methodology you can provide. Make sure you use a logical way of representing. Maybe you are using an algorithm or using any other steps. Try to follow logically. You need to state the data set that you are using, the equipment or material that you are going to use, from where you are taking the data. Everything should be coming under this section. You need not describe any established procedures and methods. This can go as a reference or it can go as a supplementary material for the reviewers. So the method section has to be detailed in such a way that a knowledgeable reader should be able to reproduce the same work that you have done. So it should be that clear. Then comes to results and findings. So here you need to present your findings. You may have a lot of findings, but try to present findings of primary importance. You can make use of different charts, graphs, and figures for representing your findings, your results. You can use subheadings to keep the results of the same type together. Make sure whatever you're presenting is easy to follow. You can make use of highlighting certain findings. For example, if you're representing a confusion matrix, try to make it bold on your contributions or your overall accuracy or kappa coefficient. What do you want to highlight? You can use highlighters on certain section by making them as bold. You also try to feature unexpected finding, which you did not think, but you have found it through the experiments, that you can present them in the results and findings section. Make use of probability like accuracy, precision, probability, and statistics like kappa coefficient, so that you are able to present your results in a statistical way. As much as possible, try to use tables. Provide a brief description. Just text is very difficult to comprehend. Try to support your text with tables, charts, graphs, and figures. Followed by that is the discussion. This is the place you discuss your findings. You need to say what are the innovative things you are finding in your experiments, what it means and why it matters, and make sure this discussion is aligned with your results section. So you have the results and now you are discussing those results. You are adding here the new knowledge, the new findings. So it's a chance for you to add something new to the body of knowledge. Make sure you compare your results with the already published results, so other reviewers can validate and they can have a comparison how you are doing differently, how your approach is better than others. So make sure you compare. There are certain things to remember in this section. Be careful not to use the following statements that go beyond what the results can support. Non-specific expressions should not be allowed here, as well as do not write anything based on the imagination or anything that was not mentioned in your other sections of the paper. That should not be something new out of the blue coming here in the discussion. State only your findings, what you have found, and your contribution to the body of knowledge and your innovativeness here based on your experiments. Final section is the conclusion. So this is the last place for you to leave a lasting impression on the reader. Do not take this section lightly. Conclusion is also very important, like the other parts of your research article. So in the conclusion, state the research gap addressed and how your research is contribute in the present state of knowledge so that it can be advanced. Do not forget to address the limitations. No research is perfect. Every research will have its own limitations, which you need to state here, and also provide a future direction. It may be for you or for the other researchers, so they can take up your research further into different directions. This should be part of the conclusion. Coming to the last section, acknowledgements are there. You acknowledge whoever has contributed to the work. Then comes the references. The advice here is try to use references of peer-reviewed research article. The more weight is given to them than to the conference papers. Do not use too many references. References should be exhaustive rather than exhausting as per the research. Again, in the references section, make sure you avoid certain things, excessive self-citation or citations or publications from the same region or institute. Conform to the style given in the guide for the authors. Normally, every publication have their own style of referencing. Refer to their style of referencing. You can make use of the tools like RefWork or EndNote to take care of your referencing, so that can ease you in putting into the proper styles. Finally, what makes a good manuscript? Remember, this is a research article. You are giving some new perspective or your innovativeness, a new idea to the research community. It should be clear, useful, and exciting, presented in a logical manner that the reader can follow, is formatted in a best way so that your reader finds it easy to comprehend and understand, and you achieve your aim. That is, you wanted to give some scientific message to the audience, and that should happen. Only then you will be able to reach to your readers. Continuing with this, you need to look at from a reader's perspective. So in this readers community, your editors and reviewers also are involved. Good manuscripts are not easy. So we have to work on it to make it good manuscripts. So you need to cherish your work. Do not take your research article lightly. Take it with care. Check everything. Because if you are not taking care of your research article, then even the journal will not take care of your article. So there is no secret recipe for success. Even the senior authors have to go through this same thing. Even their papers would require revision. It is not only to the new authors. So your dedication and hard work is very important in your success. Moreover, editors and reviewers are busy scientists. They also write papers. Besides that, they review. So we have to make their life easy to save their time. So these are the three most serious issues you need to remember when you are publishing your paper. Fabrication, where you draw conclusions on the incomplete data. You are doing experiments only partially, and then you assume things for the rest of the data. So that is a very dangerous thing, unethical practice you need to be aware of. Falsification, trying to use figures and data or manipulating the instrument so that you can get what you want. That's the falsification. And the third one is the plagiarism. every journal, even the conferences nowadays, they are making use of the plagiarism detective software, which can identify whether it is your own work or not. But make sure whatever you present, it is your own work. Because if it is identified later, then although the paper is retracted, it will still remain in the journal with a note why it has been retracted. So every author who downloads a paper from this journal will know who has written this paper, why it has been retracted. So we have to be careful not to use all these unethical practices. So reasons for early rejection normally is novelty or significance of the research is not immediately evident to the reviewers or to the editors in the first hand. They don't find anything new in the research paper. That can be a reason for early rejection. Failure to meet submission requirements, also equally important. This can also lead to rejection. You need to follow guide to the authors carefully. Make sure your research article meets the submission requirements. The third reason could be incomplete coverage of literature. You have looked at only few. Make sure you include even the latest research articles, because you need to know what has been done recently, and try to cover important researchers in your area, research articles. So it should give a feeling that you have covered, your coverage is good enough. This feeling should be there for the reviewers. Unacceptably poor English. We have to be very careful. Many a times when we read our own papers, we may not be able to identify the errors. So it should be proofread by your friends or by your colleagues or by your supervisors, so they can identify any language errors. So these are the things we need to remember, because these can lead for early rejection. So reviewing is a procedure. Every manuscript requires revision. Unless it is extraordinary, that is, no revision is required. Even the best of best research articles requires minor revisions. So you need to take comments given by the reviewers positively. Do not take it as an offense. Reviewers are there to help you so that you can progress in your work, in a quality work. Many a times, minor revision does not guarantee acceptance, because even after minor revision, the paper will go to the reviewers and then they will give their further reviews. So every time a review comes, we should look at the comments given by the reviewers, so they become as a learning tool or a learning practice. You should revise the whole manuscript when it comes for revision, not only the sections what the reviewers have pointed out. It could be that once you submit, the reviewer may look at something that he had not looked at earlier. So there are high probability of falling into a reject criteria. So make sure you revise the whole manuscript when it is required of you for revision. Okay, one more question for you. What do you say? Do you feel that, how do you rate research article publication is painful but rewarding? Do you agree? Yes, to what extent? Okay, very good. So you look like very keen researchers, maybe budding researchers. Very good. So make sure you do not take any rejection as a failure. We have learned in our life, every work that is published has gone through its own hurdles. So it was not a smooth way for anyone. Every research publication is painful, but at the end of the day, it is rewarding, because this is where you grow in your research career. You will be recognized as a research active person that can help you in so many ways we identified initially. Maybe getting funded projects, maybe a promotion, or considering you as a candidate for rewards. So we have to make efforts in publishing, though it is painful. At the end of the day, every research article publication, I'm talking about the impact factor journals. I hope you have already had a session, or you may have a session later on how to get or how to find out the high impact factor journals. Make sure you publish only in those journals so that your work can get cited. So I wanted to provide you some hints or points to remember. Always read as many papers as possible, as this will give you an idea about how others are writing. Because you need to learn from the good practices of the others. You can look at very good papers from highly ranked journals so that you get a fair idea about how others have written, so you can imbibe those good practices. Try to become a reviewer early in your career. That's a good way to look at others' work. Be a reviewer so that it gives you a fair chances of placing your views. Acquire academic writing skills. Research writing is an academic writing skill which we need to know, because it cannot be written like any other report. It has a particular way of writing. So you need to acquire academic writing skills that can be done, or that can be acquired by looking at other papers or practicing by yourself. Even you can start with a conference paper, which has less rigorous review compared to the research article to be published in a journal. You can also start with the review paper. That's a good idea if you are new to research, start with a review paper. You can look at other published work and do a comparative analysis. This helps in finding out the pros and cons of each research and comparing with the others. This need not contain original work. That's a good thing. Few authors contain their own approach at the end. Submit only good articles. As I mentioned to you earlier, if you look at the ratio of rejection and acceptance, the points of rejections are very high compared to the milestones for acceptance. So we need to be very careful in submitting only good articles so that you have high chances of acceptance. Check for language errors. This is one of the things which can become a point for early rejection. Let your research article be peer reviewed. May it be a conference paper, may it be a short communication. Make sure every work that you are going to publish is proofread. Make sure you submit to the right journal. So try to have a journal which has good ranking. You can look at the journals which are listed by UGC, or you can look for journals which are in Schemago or other prestigious journals, index journals. Make sure you do not submit your work to multiple journals. You may think that, okay, I know that the review takes 6 months to 1 year. So people normally they think that, okay, let me submit to 2-3 journals so that at least one will get at least one journal will accept my work. The issue here is many of the reviewers, they review papers of different journals, and it's very easy to detect if the same paper is submitted to more than one journals. So make sure you submit to only one journal at a time. If you get rejected from one journal, yes, you can work on it and then you can submit to the next journal. It's not a bad idea to say to the next journal that my work was rejected on this, with these were the comments, and I have done these improvements so that the other reviewers know that you have progressed. Pay attention to journal requirements. So they have their own expectations they want to see in your paper. We need to remember that they are finding points to reject than to accept. So we need to be extra careful to make sure that we do not give a room for rejection. Be honest in your work. Whatever you publish or whatever research article that you submit should be your own work, following the ethical conduct. We have to learn to live with rejection. Rejection is not necessary only to the new authors. It can happen to anyone. So every rejection should be taken as a learning tool. Reviewers are experts. So their insights should help us to learn so that we can improve our research article. At the end of the day, the quality of the research article that matters. It is not the quantity that you produce, how many papers that you can publish in a year. Because if you want your work to be cited, it has to be published in a high impact factor journal. Only then there are high probability of your work being cited. Always remember on quality and not on quantity. I have used different references for preparing this presentation. These were the different references which have been given by high impact factor journals. So I have used them for my presentation today. This is the end of my presentation. I have not taken much time of yours. We have still 50 more minutes. You can ask any questions. Audience?
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for taking your precious time out and interacting with our participants. I'm sure they are really excited and they have given their feedback also in the chat window. I can see your smile. You're smiling all through your talk, and I'm sure that you must also have enjoyed this interaction.
That's very nice from your side. Thank you, participants.
I'll be reading certain feedbacks for you. One of the feedback is that the presentation was very lucid. Step-by-step explanation was given by Dr. Jaisintha, and it is very helpful. And I'm sure it is going to be very, very helpful for all future researchers also, because it is going to be posted on YouTube. So it is going to be there forever, right? So yes, I'm sure yes. People who are actually wanting to learn and really wanting to do research are going to follow your video, and they're going to gain from it. I'm very much sure. Okay. With your permission, shall I take some questions from the
Yes,
audience?
Dr. Vandana. Yes, please.
Okay, so we are open for the questions. If any questions are there, please post your messages in the chat window. We'll take it one by one. So the first question is from Dr. Ashok Kumar. How can I choose effective word or sentence for good research paper writing? Or sir is trying to say that how can we increase my skill for paper writing?
Okay, my advice, as I already given, you need to read the papers in your area of interest. Every researcher will have their own area of interest, and there they would have publications which are provided by the prominent researchers. That's the first point where you can get effective directions for your research. If I've understood the question rightly, Dr. Vandana.
Yes, ma'am. Very well. Very well, you have explained. Definitely, we have to read a lot. We have to be very open with our thoughts.
Yes.
Research cannot be done with a closed mind. And you
Exactly.
have to reread it many times so that you can understand others' perspective also. It is very important.
Yes.
Only then you can
Exactly.
identify what gap is there in the search, isn't it? Research means that you have to doing it unless or until you find a question. And again, you have to find an answer to the right question, right?
Yes.
So it is like that, definitely.
Yes, because our work should not be repetitive, because
Yes.
it can become an unethical work. As I told you already, many journals have been retracted, many research articles have been retracted because of unethical conduct, which they find later on, which is not good for the profile of an individual.
Right.
We need to be extra careful that, yes, there is some novelty, and this novelty doesn't come out of a blue. That comes only when we read papers.
Right. That is
so
true.
When you read papers, we get new ideas, new perspective. Okay, this researcher has looked at this direction. Why don't I look at it another direction? So this is where we get new ideas.
I'll add one more thing to it, ma'am. Rather than thinking what some other person has written, definitely we have to look into an aspect that what others are writing and our understanding of the concept. We should also think of the problems first.
Yes.
If we are not identifying the problems, we are never going to identify the solution.
Yes.
And it is always going to be a repetitive thing. I think you will connect with me.
Exactly.
We have to think of the problems, what we are facing, and then we should work for the solution. Those solutions can be in parallel to what has already been suggested. And we can then think of something which is new, or we are adding something to that solution. Isn't it, ma'am?
Exactly. As we say that necessity is the mother of invention. So unless there is a problem, there cannot be solutions.
People start doing research thinking reading paper will work, but no, you have to first think of a problem.
Yes.
It starts from the problem, right?
Yeah. Reading research would help the budding researchers.
Yes, it will.
They do not know where to start.
Right.
So this will help them. Yes, once you are into research, yes, you will find thousands of problems which requires attention. Yes, because there cannot be a solution without a necessity. There should be a problem. Only then there can be solutions.
Yes, definitely. If the problem is not there, how will you find a solution? It is going to be a repeated task anyhow. Okay, ma'am. Nice talking to you, ma'am. Nice interacting with you. And definitely, I'm sure with your detailed talk and detailed information that you have shared here, I'm sure many more, not our participants only, but many more on the YouTube also are going to learn from it. And we are very glad to have you with us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Jasindra ma'am, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Professor Bala.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me to this FDP so I can share my knowledge with the participant.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm very happy if it has added something to their existing knowledge. So
Exactly, it has. We saw the comments and it's all good. And we will be in touch. We'll call you for more sessions and more other PhD related activities. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Bala.
Thank you.
Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, ma'am. See you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I leave the meeting, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I will definitely share the feedback with you after the session.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. Okay, so participants, thank you so much. You have been very patient-full audience. Thank you for joining us. You have been a wonderful audience with us. Please fill in the feedback form. This we have already shared with all of you. I will reshare it if you want. I have reshared the feedback form again, please. You all are requested to fill in the form. It is very useful for us also in future if you want to connect with you again. Yeah, this feedback form is going to help us understanding that what exactly you need as a research scholar. And tomorrow we have our session with you again. And the timings will start from, the first session is at 11:30, from 11:30 to 12:30. And it is on the topic how to develop effective project plans and key deliverables. And it is will be taken by speaker, our very honored speaker, Lily from Computer Science. The other session, the second session will be from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. It will be on the topic of exploring international research project, collaboration and agencies. And it will be taken by our very nice speaker, Shamla, ma'am from UPM University. So please, all the participants are requested to be with us tomorrow also and join us and have a great learning ahead. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we are closing the session now. Thank you, everyone.